wildfires. To talk about the situation, we can use it as an uncountable noun, drought, but we can also talk about a drought to talk about a specific period of drought.
Okay, but it's not just used for dry weather. I've heard this term used in sports, for example.
Yes, so in football you could talk about a goal drought, and that's where you have a player who usually scores lots of goals and they just stop scoring. And we use drought here because in the same way that water stops flowing, so the goals have stopped flowing.
And one more thing to note about drought is that the pronunciation and the spelling are quite different. So we spell it D-R-O-U-G-H-T, but it's pronounced drought. Okay, let's look at that again. Let's have a look at our next headline.
This is from The Times. Forest fires threaten to overwhelm the Amazon basin.
The headline says that there are forest fires in the Amazon basin. That's because the drought is making everything dry. Now, the word we're interested in is the verb overwhelm. This has lots of different meanings, Phil, but it's quite literal here, isn't it?
Yes, it is. The forest fires could suddenly and completely cover the area. They could overwhelm it. But we can actually use it in different ways as well.
Yes, we can use overwhelm to talk about work or emotions, can't we? Can you give us some other examples?
Yes, so we can use it as a passive or we can use it as an adjective. So if, for example, you say that you're overwhelmed with work, it means you've got too much and you can't cope with it. If you watch a film that's very emotional, you could say it's overwhelming if it makes you cry a lot.
Well, hopefully this episode of News Review hasn't overwhelmed you, although Phil, your presenting has been very moving. Okay, let's look at that again. Next headline, please.
This is from VOA. Wildfire smoke taints air for millions in Brazil.
So we've already heard that the drought in the Amazon has led to wildfires. This headline says that the smoke from the fire taints the air, and we are looking at the word taint. Now, Phil, doesn't this mean turning something good bad?
Yes, the smoke taints the air and we don't want smoke in the air. We can use it more generally to talk about turning something good into something bad, and actually we often use it by turning it into the adjective tainted.
That's right. And other things can be tainted, like you said. For example, a relationship. Maybe someone in a relationship does a bad thing, the other person can't trust them, so the relationship is ruined, it's tainted.
We can also use it to talk about people's reputations. Think of a politician caught up in a scandal. It can taint their reputation with the public.
Okay, let's look at that again. We've had drought, a period of time with no rain.
Overwhelm, cover something completely and quickly.
And taints, turns something good to bad.
Now, if you're interested in the Amazon, we've got another episode of News Review that we think you'll really like. Click on it now.
And don't forget to click here to subscribe to our channel so you never miss another video. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Rapidly transforming societies. That's the only option left, says the UN, after a failure to cut carbon. This is News Review from BBC Learning English. I'm Neil.
And I'm Beth. Make sure you watch to the end to learn vocabulary to talk about the story.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like this video, and try the quiz on our website. Now let's hear more about the story.
Countries must reprioritise climate change or the world faces catastrophe. That's what the head of the UN has said ahead of COP27. the climate conference being held in Egypt this month. Scientists say government failures to meet carbon targets will lead to a rise of more than 1.5 degrees. Only radically changing society will save us from climate disaster, they say.
You've been looking at the headlines, Beth. What's the vocabulary?
We have landmark, greenwashing, and warning shots.
This is News Review from BBC Learning English.